Welcome back to Soft Hands Garage, where you get to watch a computer expert in a desperate attempt to keep his junk on the road. My name's Ron. We're going to start out this episode with a little quick review of the trip to Texas. Everything went good. It was a lot of fun, but it was real busy, so I didn't get a lot of video, particularly on working on the boat, which was always and will always be a thing. In addition to working on the boat, little things to fix constantly on it. I got little things like this GFCI outdoor outlet that is blown. I don't know, something crawled up in there maybe and burned it up. I don't know. Anyways, it's out. Got a new one of those. Got to fix it. But, you know, it had its issues, but wasn't anything major. Got an island we're able to beach on. Pretty cool. It's only an island if you look at it from the water, though. But anyways, it was a fun trip. Got to do a little bit of fishing, a lot of sightseeing, hanging out with family and stuff, and it was real pleasant. Had a fairly miserable trip back, just because it's miserable driving 16 hours. There's not a lot you can do about it. The Buick was fine. Didn't have any problems with the suspension. Didn't have any problems with the suspension. The alignment's good. Got that done before we left, and it all checked out real good once the bushings were replaced on the rear end. So now I'm back, and it's time to get to some work here. Yep. Welcome home. And as terrible as that number looks, believe it or not, it's 5 to 10 degrees cooler than it usually is this time of year. But I do have a little bit of time with that temperature to get a little work done. So I'm still not going to be doing it without this thing running. And if you couldn't tell, I built this pretty much from scraps that a guy sold me for a couple $100. And then I put, what is that, 600, I think, in ducting. Yeah, seems fair. Anyway, I hadn't run this one since last year. Yeah, I'm just checking it out. It's usually, in addition to full of spiders, full of dirt. And that's not bad. It's not bad at all. I guess I'll just go ahead and fire it up. See how she goes. Yeah, probably not the most efficient swamp cooler you've ever seen. And they got this water line that runs through the other side of the wall to the outdoor spigot over there. Hey, nice. That's good. Right into a dust devil. Love it. Love it. Anyway, that thing actually is held up. I guess it's just over a year old. It usually goes 2 years before it just kind of disintegrates into the ground. I mean, they have a problem with the landfills being full of plastic. They just need to bring them out here. Don't bury them. Just put it on top of the ground out here, and it'll just go away. It just blows into the air, becomes part of the atmosphere after a while. But this one's holed up enough that I think I can run it. We'll see. I'll turn it on, and if it blows, then I guess I'm not going to have it. But, like I say, it's not the most efficient swap cooler in the world, but keeps me in the shop So we'll give her a go. Got it thermostatically controlled. 103 in here right now. I guess you could turn it on less than high fan, but not in here you wouldn't. Never did get mounted, obviously, but it'll never get to, I think I got it at like 78. That's just for fun. Just basically keep running is the idea. And she's blowing cool air. That'll work better than nothing. Got these 2 big vents I put in, but it's still not quite enough. I kind of have to leave the garage door open a little bit. Trick is, from the inside, you put a piece of paper up against the vent, and if you want it to just barely hold it, you just take a piece of paper and it should just barely hold it. So that's about right, I think. Any less than that, it'd just fall down. So I think we got her about as good as it's gonna get, and it is decent so far already. Got my fridge back from the boy. He was using it in his dorm, and he's going to be out of the dorm this year. So I got my beer soda cooler back, and anything you want to keep cool can be left in there. And I got the truck being put to use right away. This actually happened before we left for Texas. Bought him a couch for his condo, $500 here locally, and nice little couch. And anyways, the thing is though, is that means no more quick trip, 10-15 mile trips to town and back. I actually need to be driving around Tucson with it. And Tucson is pretty much famous for using more brake pads per mile than fuel. So it's just a non-stop stop that you got to go through. Stop and go, stop and go. And so I can't live with master cylinder having the issue that it's having. Just as a reminder, what's happening here is this master cylinder, the reservoirs, all the fluid is going from the rear to the front reservoir after a bit of use. So I pretty much determined that it's got to be the master cylinder, just from doing some research. I did check out the function of a proportioning valve, and I don't see any actual return. So you have fluid going through and dispersing based on how it disperses to the front and rear. I don't see anything coming back, so I don't see how it could really have an impact on it. Whereas the master cylinder has a cylinder in here with several seals, and depending on where you're applying the brakes and how fast you're applying the brakes and so forth, it moves the fluid out through the brake lines, through the rear, well actually to the proportioning valve from the front and the rear, and then it takes care of the proportion that it gives it to the front and rear brakes. So I was thinking, the other part of it of course is booster, but that's just a rod that pushes the cylinder. So I don't see how it could have any impact on fluid being in the front or the rear. So I'm pretty sure it has to be the master cylinder that is our issue. So I went ahead and ordered a new master cylinder. Should be here actually tomorrow. So this weekend I'll be able to get that done. So it'll be fun. I'll probably do the bench bleed. I know, a guy will do it on the truck, and he's like, yeah, it's no different than being on the bench. And I get that, but I've never done a bench bleed. So, I don't know. maybe do them both. I'm gonna have to do the GMC here eventually, so I'll have the opportunity to do this more than once, but I'll probably start with the bench bleed. So it's still 106 degrees out, and we're under 100 in here, so I'll take that. So no kidding, not an hour after I videoed how good everything went and was running in Texas on the whole trip and trip back, the wife calls saying there's definitely some kind of noise coming from the front end, the right front end whenever she turns. And this is what I found. And then when I compare that to the other side, just looks different. First of all, a lot more of that white plastic bushing or whatever it is showing, no orange like the other side. And then kind of just pop the top off, and this one didn't have the rubber cap anymore, but this one does. And so I didn't really even think about it. I just kind of looked at the cup washer and everything all seems seated just like the other side. But I guess the cap, rubber cap, is just to hide the fact that I've got about two, maybe a thread and a half left versus I don't know, 4 threads over here. So the nut is backing off, and yeah, I probably have very little time before that separates and just starts bashing my hood in. Anyway, there's the new one. Loads of fun, as always. Not a lot of threads up here. One thing I did note with this one, the instructions with the other ones was, just put them in. This one had instructions, and the odd thing is it talks about the using the original specs for the torque on this nut, which, that's weird. Seems like, you put this kit together, you put the whole thing together, you would just put it down to the value that your equipment requires, not what the car had on it originally. Because it's not an OEM replacement here. I mean, it's a replacement, but it's not an OEM part. It's aftermarket, so think you would have your own spec for it, but apparently not. And I don't have that spec, so I'm gonna have to get that and torque that down, but otherwise she's ready to go. All right, and then this side, perfectly fine, but I'm not leaving that junk on the car, for one thing. And then I did find that the ride height changed by a fairly significant amount with the other side. About an inch higher, actually, than this side. So I'm just went ahead and got the other one instead of dinking around waiting on it. I don't know. I mean, I guess like that wasn't showing originally, so I don't know. Maybe this one's getting ready to have some weird things happen too. It's just a dust boot, but why is it moving around like that where it's exposing stuff? I don't know. It's junk, and they're gonna send me a new one. No refund. I knew that, so I'm just, I rented it. I rented this set of struts that I say blessedly lasted me for the whole trip into Texas and back. And so I got that. And then, you know, the nice thing here too was getting back into this. I hadn't even checked these because I swore I changed these brakes last year. But I think that might be what you get for swearing, because they're goners. There's very little left of these pads, so I got to change on those as well. Wouldn't have really even noticed that unless I had the wheel off. So anywho, gonna do that as well. All right, little quiz. Which one of these is different and doesn't belong in the car? Yeah, that is pretty messed up. All right, well, this is the new master cylinder. I got it in, and I'm gonna do the bench bleeding thing. I don't really know what I'm doing. I haven't actually researched this at all. I've just seen people do it, but I think I get the concept of it, right? I got a couple of fittings, which I need to tighten that down a little bit. I put some thread. I got some thread tape on it, and you know, it's barbed. There's no pressure in the system, right? Because it's just an open end on those tubes. So I don't think I should have a problem with leaking and stuff, as long as they fit in there, and a little bit of thread tape, you know, to keep from oozing out and whatnot, and tighten them down a little bit. And then you fill the reservoirs with the brake fluid, and then you pump the cylinder, which I got a ratchet with a rubber handle, keep from scuffing stuff. And you just do that and watch for bubbles. That's the idea. Now, the only thing that I'm not real sure about is how do you go about getting these fittings off and not reintroduce air into the system, because that's, you know, the point. It's just what's in this system that you're getting the air out of, and then you're gonna probably have a couple of bubbles in the brake lines when you pull them off the old master cylinder and go to put them on here. So how do you keep this from, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't know. I'm gonna play with it anyway, see how it works, if it works. You know, everybody was too busy running around, so I had to put get the strut done, and then put the wheel on to go into town to get my brakes pads. And they are pads this time. I kept calling the shoes pads on the truck. These are actual pads this time. Yeah. Oh. That's about as close as you'll ever want them. I don't think I've ever had pads that thin on my own vehicle. Wow. Oops. Oh well, I got some Duralast. Got the higher dollar stuff this time. And that'll match the struts. They're Duralast too. Alright, well, it's just putting brake pads on. No point in watching a big movie about that. I do like this style where you can just put one of the old brake pads back in, you know, loosely, and use that to pry against to get the cylinder collapsed. That, I don't know if it's a new style or just a different style, that you got to use that wrench to turn the pistons back in. But this old style way is just a lot simpler to me. All right, I'm gonna have to put the camera down for this. So, and just like that, they're all squished in flush and ready to go back on. I cleaned her up with brake cleaner, put some new hardware on, get the new pads in there, easy peasy. It's about a 15-20 minute job. And they're done. Or well, this side. Gotta go do the drinker side. Okay, I'm not gonna lie to you, I pumped it already. And it works good, but it's pretty much put all the fluid I had in the reservoirs into the tubes, and so it was over pretty quick. Looks like it's happening though. We got bubbles coming out of the reservoirs. I don't know. Turns out I didn't have the camera rolling. But it's working good. I didn't have enough fluid in it at first. It just filled the tubes and started sucking air, so but we got bubbles. And they're starting to slow down already. I'm not sure if I should be getting all these bubbles in the tube or not. You know that. But it's completely submerged, so I don't know if I gotta wait till that's clear of bubbles too, or if it's just the reservoir. Because I don't see anything coming out of that one anymore. There's no bubbles in the rear. The front's taking a little longer. All right, I'm gonna keep working on that. Okay, I watched the video, and you do got to get the air bubbles out of the tubes, kind of one of the primary things. So that took a little longer, but we got that done. And so now what I'm going to do is try and drain these a bit. Yeah, that's pretty nasty looking stuff anyway. I'm not going to keep it. They're not the best sucker upper, but it'll get it good enough. Okay, that's about as good as I'm going to get it. Yeah, pretty nasty stuff. Can't get a socket on it. No, I guess I gotta get these lines off too. Everybody's always complaining about getting these lines off. I don't understand. That's an east-west joke. Alright, I gotta be quick with this thing, so. Otherwise everything's gonna get air in it. messy. Lid on. Fall off of here. Beautiful. Light him up. All right, now we'll top her off. A bit more fluid. Get these plugs out a little bit more. Good. That'll be good. All right. See the pedal feels. That shot out of there, huh? Whoops. It's fine. Got all brake I can handle. Maybe the wrong direction. There we go. Just like that, we got a brake master. We got brakes. Well, it's June 9th in southern Arizona. It's 67 degrees out. Beautiful day. I said if this forecast was right this week, this would be the coolest June on record. I'm loving it. Got a lot done. This is carport up. Me and the boy did that. Got the truck bed under cover, sort of. This side being wide open's not great. That's several hours of the sun hitting it directly in the evening. So I'm gonna move it over behind the trailer and pull it up, which makes sense, and I got room here to park a car or do whatever. But you know, it's there. It's not great, but I think it'll hold up and provide shade. That's the main thing. It's gonna leak like a sieve, but I don't really care. Rain's not that big of a problem here. And there's kind of a pretty sight in the other carport. Very nice. Got the pinball machine going and nice and tuned up. Looking good, playing good. Not me playing good, but the machine's playing good. Just been doing that in the spare time. Truck's good. Took it for a test drive yesterday, last night after I was done with the master cylinder. Stops on a dime. It's awesome. I haven't taken it for a long enough drive to know for sure that it's resolved that issue, but I'm sure it has. I'll report back on it just to make sure, but I think we're good on it. And with that done, I'm all caught up. Got all my junk back on the road. The boys gonna take the Buick to Texas again tomorrow. So, prayers would be great. I swear it's always one thing after another. But I think it'll hold up. We've got, like I say, the Duralast decent struts on there, and brakes are all done, and got new shoes. Everything should be good on it. Fingers crossed. That'll about wrap it up for this one. If the weather holds, I'm just going to keep going. Got a bunch of stuff get back on the GMC pretty much full time. I don't have anything else. Like I say, all the stuff's running. That was the main thing on that. The bike's done for the year, I think, even though it's nice right now. I don't think it's going to hold out. Not this nice. Not for long. I'll just keep updating as we go along. Hopefully I get a lot done this summer. Hopefully we get some videos out. Be rare. Be like the first time pretty much that I didn't just shut down completely for the summer. So be awesome. If I get updates, I'll put them out. Otherwise, we'll see you next time either way.